A Madman's Manuscript by Charles Dickens. Yes, a madman's. How that word would have struck to my heart many years ago. I like it now, though. It's a fine name. It's a grand thing to be mad. To be peeped at like a wild lion through the iron bars, to gnash one's teeth and howl to the merry ring of a heavy chain, and to roll among the straw. Hurrah for the madhouse! Oh, it's a rare place. I remember days when I was afraid of being mad, when I used to start from my sleep and pray to be spared from the curse of my race. I knew that madness was mixed with my blood, and that one generation had passed away without the pestilence appearing among them, and that I was the first in whom it would revive. At last it came upon me, and I wondered how I could ever have feared it. I could go into the world now and laugh and shout with the best among them. I knew I was mad, but they did not even suspect it. And how I used to laugh for joy when I was alone, and thought how well I kept my secret, and how quickly my kind friends would have fallen from me if they had known the truth. I could have screamed with ecstasy when I dined alone with some fine roaring fellow, to think how pale he would have turned if he had known that the dear friend who sat close to him, sharpening a bright glittering knife, was a madman with all the power and half the will to plunge it in his heart. Oh, it was a merry life. Riches became mine. Wealth poured in upon me, and I rioted in pleasures enhanced 1,000-fold to me by the consciousness of my well-kept secret. I inherited an estate. Where was the wit of the sharp-sighted men of sound mind? Where the dexterity of the lawyers, eager to discover a flaw? The madman's cunning had overreached them all. I had money. How I was courted! I spent it profusely. How I was praised! How those 3 proud, overbearing brothers humbled themselves before me! The old white-headed father, too, such deference, such respect, such devoted friendship. He worshipped me. The old man had a daughter, and the young men a sister, and all the 5 were poor. I was rich, and when I married the girl, I saw a smile of triumph play upon the faces of her needy relatives as they thought of their well-planned scheme and their fine prize. It was for me to smile. They little thought they had married her to a madman. In one thing I was deceived with all my cunning. If I had not been mad, for though we madmen are sharp-witted enough, we get bewildered sometimes, I should have known that the girl would rather have been placed stiff and cold in a dull leaden coffin than born an envied bride to my rich glittering house. I should have known that her heart was with the dark-eyed boy, whose name I once heard her breathe in her troubled sleep, and that she had been sacrificed to me to relieve the poverty of the old white-headed man and the haughty brothers. I know the girl was beautiful. I know she was, for when I start up from my sleep and all is quiet about me, I see, standing still and motionless in one corner of this cell, a slight and wasted figure with long black hair and eyes that fix their gaze on me. That figure never moves. It never frowns and mouths as others do, but it is much more dreadful to me. For nearly a year I saw that face grow paler. I saw the tears steal down the mournful cheeks and never knew the cause. I found it out at last, though. She had never liked me. I had never thought she did. She despised my wealth and hated the splendour in which she lived, but I had not expected that she loved another. This I had never thought of. I did not hate her, though I hated the boy she still wept for. I pitied the wretched life to which her relations had doomed her, but the thought that before her death she might give birth to some ill-fated being, destined to hand down madness to its offspring, determined me. I resolved to kill her. Oh, the pleasure of stropping the razor day after day, feeling the sharp edge and thinking of the gash one stroke of its thin, bright edge would make. At last the old spirits, who had been with me so often before, whispered in my ear that the time was come, and thrust the open razor into my hand. I grasped it firmly, rose from the bed, and leaned over my sleeping wife. Her face was buried in her hands. I withdrew them softly, and they fell listlessly on her bosom. She had been weeping, for the traces of the tears were still wet upon her cheek. I leaned forward again. She screamed and woke. One motion of my hand, and she would never again have uttered cry or sound. But I was startled, and drew back. Her eyes were fixed on mine, and I quailed beneath them. She rose from the bed, still gazing fixedly and steadily on me. I trembled. The razor was in my hand, but I could not move. She made towards the door. As she neared it, she turned and withdrew her eyes from my face. The spell was broken. I bounded forward and clutched her by the arm, uttering shriek upon shriek. She sank upon the ground. I could have killed her without a struggle, but the house was alarmed. I heard the tread of footsteps on the stairs. I replaced the razor in its usual drawer, unfastened the door, and called loudly for assistance. They came, and raised her and placed her on the bed. She lay bereft of animation for hours, and when life returned, her senses had deserted her. Doctors rolled up to my door in easy carriages, with fine horses and gaudy servants, who were at her bedside for weeks, consulting together in low and solemn voices. One, the cleverest and most celebrated, took me aside, and bidding me prepare for the worst, told me, the madman, that my wife was mad. I laughed till the air resounded with my shouts. The white-headed old man followed her to the grave, and the proud brothers dropped a tear over the insensible corpse of her whose sufferings they had regarded in her lifetime with muscles of iron. All this was food for my secret mirth, and I laughed behind the white handkerchief which I held up to my face as we rode home, till the tears came into my eyes. But I was restless and disturbed, and I felt that before long my secret must be known. Yet I ground my teeth and drove my sharp nails into my hands. I kept it down, and no one knew I was a madman yet. I remember, though it's one of the last things I can remember, how I let it out at last. Let me see. Yes, I had been out. It was late at night when I reached home, and found the proudest of the three proud brothers waiting to see me. Urgent business, I was told. I hated that man with all a madman's hate. Many a time had my fingers longed to tear him. I ran swiftly upstairs. It was late, and we were alone together for the first time. We sat in silence for a few minutes. He spoke at last. My recent dissipation and strange remarks, made so soon after his sister's death, were an insult to her memory. He thought I had not treated her well. He wished to know whether he was right in inferring that I meant to cast a reproach upon her memory and a disrespect upon her family. It was due to the uniform he wore to demand this explanation. This man had a commission in the army, a commission purchased with my money and his sister's misery. This was the man who had been foremost in the plot to ensnare me and grasp my wealth. This was the man who had been the main instrument in forcing his sister to wed me, well knowing that her heart was given to that pulling boy. Due to his uniform, the livery of his degradation. I turned my eyes upon him. I could not help it, but I spoke not a word. I saw the sudden change that came upon him beneath my gaze. He was a bold man, but the colour faded from his face, and he drew back his chair. I dragged mine nearer to him, and I laughed. I was very merry then. I saw him shudder. I felt the madness rising within me. He was afraid of me. "You villain," said I. "I found you out. I discovered your hellish plots against me. I know her heart was fixed on someone else before you compelled her to marry me. I know it. I know it." He jumped suddenly from his chair, brandished it aloft, and bid me stand back, for I took care to be getting closer to him all the time I spoke. I screamed rather than talked, for I felt tumultuous passions eddying through my veins, and the old spirits whispering and taunting me to tear his heart out. "Damn you," said I, starting up and rushing upon him. "I killed her. I am a madman. Down with you, blood! Blood! I will have it!" I turned aside with one blow the chair he hurled at me in his terror, and closed with him, and with a heavy crash we rolled upon the floor together. It was a fine struggle, that, for he was a tall, strong man fighting for his life, and I, a powerful madman thirsting to destroy him. I knew no strength could equal mine, and I was right. Right again, though a madman. His struggles grew fainter. I knelt upon his chest and clasped his brawny throat firmly with both hands. His face grew purple, his eyes were starting from his head, and with protruded tongue he seemed to mock me. I squeezed the tighter. The door was suddenly burst open with a loud noise, and a crowd of people rushed forward, crying aloud to each other to secure the madman. My secret was out, and my only struggle now was for liberty and freedom. I gained my feet before a hand was on me, and cleared my way with my strong arm as if I bore a hatchet in my hand, and hewed them down before me. I gained the door, dropped over the banisters, and in an instant was in the street. Straight and swift I ran, and no one dared to stop me. I heard the noise of the feet behind, and redoubled my speed. It grew fainter and fainter in the distance, and at length died away altogether. I was borne upon the arms of demons, who swept along upon the wind, and bore down bank and hedge before them, until at last they threw me